Alright, got the essay here. Kershaw edited it. So here we go. I don't have a title, need to do that. My mother, Hope October Logan, shaped her adult identity as a waitress in restaurants and bars long before she brought me into this world. Put great opening line. I got that from the exercise we did where we used roses as a template. There are many skills she has picked up as a server, and my mom displays many of these skills even after her last shift. That part's kind of weird because it goes, there are many skills she has picked up, already talking about her and then putting, and my mom displays. So I gotta go back and fix that. These skills include not only multitasking, but knowing how to consolidate tasks for the most efficient outcome possible. There are also many They also include communication with customers and coworkers, having a great learning ability due to memorizing a restaurant's menu and quickly learning new additions to the menu, and being able to tend to people's needs with a smile on one's face. Although a large part of her will always be a waitress, there is an even larger part of her that is my success champion. He put, I like how you show the skills, then say uh, she is even better than that. Okay. And Mike Rose's blue collar brilliance. Rose has a very similar situation because his mother was a waitress. He introduces the idea that there is great intelligence in blue collar professions, arguing against the common idea that these blue collar jobs such as serving, being a mechanic, plumbing, and different jobs of that nature are mindless, and people who work in these jobs are not intelligent. Rose has this to say about our society and its views on intelligence. Our culture, in Cartesian fashion, separates the body from the mind so that, for example, we assume that the use of a tool does not involve abstraction. We reinforce this notion by defining intelligence solely on grades in school and numbers on IQ tests. Rose is saying that we rely on tests in schools to judge what is intelligence. And he kind of made a note that I should put judge what intelligence is instead of what I have, which is judge what is intelligence. And I like that, so I'm gonna put that in on my final. This is a main point in his piece, and he put out a and put the, so that sounds better. This is the main point in his piece, and how there is intelligence to be found elsewhere, especially in workers of jobs like serving, such as my mother. Rose opens the article by telling us about his mother, who also was a server. He gives us examples of how she displayed great intelligence on the job, and I can relate to these examples as I see them in my mother. She'd watch the room and note in the I'm saying a quote, so maybe I can put a better intro of that quote, so it doesn't kind of pop out of the blue. She'd watch the room and note in the flow of our restaurant who needed a refill, whose order was taking longer to prepare than it should, who was finishing up, and then I put a period there where it shouldn't be, I guess. Here, Rose is explaining that even when his mother would come sit with him and his father for a quick couple minutes of rest, she kept working. She would scan the floor and note what was going on, who was in need of what, and what she needed to do next. I see the same thing in my mom. Whenever she would help me with my school projects or even doing things around the house, she would always be thinking about what needed to get done and how she could get them done in the most efficient manner. For example, she would not only do laundry, but between cycles, she would get other work done, like paperwork for her job or clean around the house. Make sure I put a comma there so that flows better. Alright. Clean around the house. The things Rose tell us about his mother and how she has great intelligence from serving, I can see in my mother. My mother has always tried to pass on these skills and talents to me. I put, oh, okay, talents to me. Every chance she can, she helps me learn how to multitask, better communicate, and above all, work hard. I have had some troubles with school in the past, but my mother has always been there for me. She understands that even though I was not always bringing home the best grades on quizzes and tests from school, I am very intelligent. He put, I should put still very intelligent. I'll look at that and see what sounds better. She would always remind me that even though I haven't had much success in school over the years, I could do anything I set my mind to. That I am intelligent, and she would give me examples of how I was using my interest in non-academic things and how much I knew and could learn about those things. And back to the beginning of that sentence where I said that I am intelligent, he put repetition, try to reword the sentence. So I guess I'm kind of repeating the intelligence part. So I'll go back like that. I will always remember one afternoon in particular. My mother and I were sitting on our porch, and we were just conversing about my future and what I wanted to do. I muttered something like, I wish I was smart like Charity. Charity is my sister who has always, and this is in parentheses, Charity is my sister who has always excelled in academia. So I said this phrase often. Close parentheses. Or not parentheses, okay, parentheses, sorry. She said, Chris, just because you haven't really been able to figure out how to study productively and haven't gotten a real handle on school doesn't mean you're not as smart as her. Just look at what you've done lately. You've been into hockey for not even a full year, and you can tell me who every player is on almost every team in the NHL. And you know so much about exercising and weightlifting, and you really have just showed interest in it for a couple of months now. This situation really reminds me of Gerald Graff's hidden intellectualism. In this piece, Graff argues that students who do not excel in academia can have great intelligence, usually about their hobbies and interests. For example, Graff says this, I was practicing being an intellectual before I knew that was what I wanted to be. This is exactly what is happening in the conversation I had with my mother. She is telling me that even though I have not figured out how to be successful in school yet, I am very intelligent. And then back at the top, or not the top, but the midway through the paragraph, Trishal put, perfect way to introduce Graff, flows right into his quotes. Sorry, the screen locked up. Okay, my mother would try and tell me that I need to find something in each class that interests me, so I would not become bored with school. Once she said, I know that school can be very boring, Chris, but you still have to go and still have to be there, so learn how to make the most of it. You need to find things in class that interest you, because if you don't, you are always going to hate it. And at the top of that paragraph, he says, flows in perfectly again after the previous paragraph. Good work. And then down here at the bottom, he said the structure of the essay has been really good. So that's positive. She would see how much I could learn and apply myself to subjects within the things that I enjoy, like sports and foreign cultures. And she would try and get me to apply this intelligence to subjects within academia. This is very similar to when Graff says, but they would be more prone to take on intellectual identities if we encourage them to do so at first on subjects that interest them rather than the ones that interest us. Graff is arguing that the school should teach the students subjects about their own interest rather than the very boring ones that the schools teach today. Maybe I can, right there, instead of saying that the schools teach today, put that the schools currently teach. Maybe that'll sound better. I'll figure it out when I make this last draft. This relates to what my mom would tell me because she understands that I will learn the material and be much more involved in class if I found something in them that interests me. And he put in that paragraph, good example. There's another place in Graff's article where he presents this idea. See these interests through academic eyes. I need to kind of fix the quotes on that. See these interests through academic eyes, that is, to think and write about cars, sports, and fashions in a reflective, analytical way. He is arguing. He's arguing here much the same idea as in the previous quote, that schools should teach subjects that kids are interested in. This would help students become more interested in classes and become more successful in later classes as they develop their academic skills in classes where the subjects are their interests. My mom has always supported my interests and tried to help me apply my learning skills that I develop in these interests to academia. My mother is a very inspiring woman. Having worked as a server for many years, she has developed many skills in a blue-collar profession that displays great intelligence. She has taught me some of these skills, and she helps me apply the learning skills I pick up in non-academic interests to academia. She is very invested in my overall success in life. She is my biggest success champion, and I would not be the same person without her. And in that paragraph, I like how I said she has developed many schools in a blue collar profession, because I think that kind of ties in Mike Rose's piece, because the title of it was blue collar intelligence, so it kind of sets that again. Okay, so at the end he wrote, "I really liked how your paragraph flowed all together. Other than grammatical error, the paper itself is very well put together. The part when you quote your mom on the porch is perfect." Okay, so that's very positive. I can go and tweak the small things, reword a couple things, do my title and my works cited, and I'll be good.